Hello and welcome to the Crypto Jungle. My name is Baloo the Bear, and here on the channel we keep crypto simple. We look at the price in the context of volume and take a look at the fundamentals as well so that you are better prepared out there, as there's like 12,000 coins and it's pretty hard to keep your head on straight in terms of what's a scam, what's worth it, what's worth getting involved with, and what you should really not touch at all. But in today, we're going to stick on the macro scale. We're going to look at some of the bigger assets. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum and take a look at a couple requests that come in from the chat. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the king of all cryptocurrency, and that is Bitcoin. Starting out here with Bitcoin on the daily, got an hour left in this daily candle here. I'm just going to turn the alphanumerics indicator on for a moment, drop down to the 4-hour, and talk about the resistance that we are butt up against right now. So we've been battling with this downward sloping line of resistance for a while now. What are we looking at? For approximately 81 days. A long battle with this resistance, a long grind to the downside. So we're up against it currently, which, if the trend is to continue, this would be the rejection point. We are sitting on a area of support, but the supports, every support level that we've been on thus far has failed to hold us. So the assumption is that this support level will also fail to hold us. Now, there is an opportunity for a breakout. So if you don't already have this line drawn on your charts, get this line on your charts, because if we do break out here on volume, then things are looking good. And we have the first sign, the first glimmer of hope for a potential trend reversal. We can't begin to reverse the trend until we attempt to break the trend. So this is a downtrend that's been established for a very long time. Go ahead and draw this line on your charts, and if we can get above it, it's good. That's a step in the right direction. But as it stands right now, we are not above it. We are butt up against resistance. So if there was to be a rejection, it would be at this point. So bear that in mind with any of the decisions that you make with your portfolios. Let's take a look at the alphanumerics indicator. If we go on to the daily, all of the EMAs are still in bearish alignment. However, the price did manage to get above and hold above the weekly EMA. So step in the right direction. I'm also liking the wicks here. I'm liking the buy pressure, propping the price up here. It looks like buyers are willing to step in at this level. And that has to do with the fact that we're just sitting very close to a macro support. This is still a higher high if you're looking at this previous high. It's no longer a higher high in relation to this high, or sorry, it's no longer a higher low in relation to this low, but it is a higher low in relation to this low. If we lose this level, start to close some large time frame candles below that level, then it's going to get pretty dicey out there, and it's going to take many months to repair something like that. But as it stands right now, we're bouncing off of this level, and if we can start to change the trend, get on top of these EMAs, break through those resistance, then we have a shot at showing the market that there is some demand and we could potentially reverse the trend. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum on the 3-day, we got a green diamond, which if you are an investor in Ethereum or any large market cap coin, this indicator has been specialized to call investment points, but there's no point in investing in an absolute shit coin. So just because you see a green diamond doesn't always mean that it's going to be the best investment opportunity. But for a project like Ethereum, where countless applications are being built, there's a ton of development and there's a ton of usability with a network like Ethereum. For those who are the accumulating type, we have a very strong buy signal on Ethereum that is indicating that it is an appropriate time for you to be accumulating. However, we're still below the EMAs, so the momentum is still not strong. We have the same sort of downward sloping line of resistance as we do on Bitcoin, with a little bit more to overtake. So we're in that environment where Bitcoin is going to have to lead the charge. Bitcoin does have to, set the tone for the bullish price action in the market overall. There are, of course, some outliers out there. There are some trades to be had, but for me, I like to focus on the macro swings when the market itself is healthy. So we want to make sure that the market conditions are healthy so that you're getting appropriate follow through on these altcoins. So yeah, we're definitely keeping a close eye on ETH. Let's catch up with the chat here. To the moon. Tomorrow is Chinese New Year and a new moon. Powerful times, absolutely. ETH will flip the S&P 500. I like that. I like that. That's somebody who understands the power of something like Ethereum. It can definitely be a stock market replacement for sure. Once we start tokenizing stocks, if we decide to tokenize stocks and manage those on the Ethereum network, obviously that's never going to happen with the current Ethereum fees. But if we do manage to control the fees and get it down to something reasonable, then absolutely I could see a marketplace that is powered by Ethereum, where we trade tokenized stock certificates. So very, very apt observation. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other top crypto competitors, or these are just some isolated blockchains. Let's take a look at XRP. Again, the market's working against us, so XRP is in a downtrend. We're close to it at a support level. We are printing a higher low, but if we do start to break down below this level, it's not going to be good for XRP. Bullish divergence, not much. I guess you could technically say that there is at least some resistance or some support being built here on the RSI, as the advance of the price is a lot more dramatic compared to the decline of the RSI, but nothing noteworthy. And the only thing that I do see that is noteworthy is just the lack of demand overall. You can see just a very low amount of trading volume. So XRP is certainly not one that will be an outlier in these types of conditions. We can take a look at Algorand. This one's been trending to the upside overall, kind of forming a bullish megaphone pattern. Let's get kind of the shape on the screen here. But it's very volatile to hold on to something that's doing this. So, we're kind of sitting near the point where there would be a bounce. Same story among many different assets in the current environment. We're at a support, but time and time again, the support has been failing us. So we need to be, understanding of the fact that if we do break below these support levels, it's going to get gnarly out there. So still quite a strong localized downtrend with a potential for a bounce, but nothing to get too excited about. Altcoin market overall not great. Cardano, we can take a look at Cardano here. Our bearish indicator came in at about $2, currently sitting at $1, so a 50% retrace. If anybody shorted Cardano off of that signal, congratulations, you got 50% off of that trade. We're waiting for the turnaround. Again, below the EMAs, at a support, potential for a bounce, but nothing has happened. It's the same story over and over again. So let's go ahead and take a look at something else. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance overall. Let me pull up Explore tab. Let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. BTC.D. This should be in a rally under the current market conditions. A lot of alts bleeding out. Yep, we are rallying here with Bitcoin dominance. Altcoin season is waiting for us below 40% dominance. If we can get below 40% dominance, meaning that the market cap of Bitcoin will, compared to the rest of the market cap, the total market cap excluding Bitcoin, would account for below 40%, then we're in the environment for a rally in the altcoins, and that would be, the proverbial altcoin season. But we got down to 40 and we bounced off of that. We want to see kind of a rejection at this level. If we look here, if we connect the two dots, there's definitely some more room to the upside for this to rally. So that will likely come in the context of a rally in Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's market cap, if Bitcoin's price begins to rally, its market cap will rise. That will increase the dominance of the relationship between the alts, as the alts will probably not move. You might even see some altcoins dump. I've seen that in the past where Bitcoin rallies and altcoins dump as everybody dumps their altcoins to move that liquidity into Bitcoin. Not saying that that's going to happen, but it's definitely a possibility. So bear that in mind. There's definitely some room to the upside here in terms of Bitcoin dominance and its relation to the rest of the altcoin market. Let's catch up with the chat here. Cosmos, yeah, we can take a look at Cosmos. Would you invest in ETH or alts on Solana, like Mercurial, Solstice, etc.? 50-50, I guess. So the thing is, with a lot of these protocols that don't have a ton of user demand, so with Mercurial Finance, I believe that is a stablecoin one-for-one swap pool on the Solana network. One-for-one swaps for stable, that's great because it allows whales to take advantage of arbitrage opportunities. Now, how the Mercurial coin, like the MER token, comes into play is it's simply a governance token. So with these types of low demand plays, you can catch the momentum as speculators rush in, but as speculators leave, I don't think that it's a very long-term investment to be putting money into those types of coins that don't have a clear utility for the token itself. The application is great. I think the application is really important, and like I said, it helps stabilize and keep all the stable coins at peg, but the application is an application. It's the success of the application has nothing to do with the price of Mercurial's token. But we can go ahead and take a look at the ticker. Yeah, it's been in down only mode. Like I said, with these governance only plays, they typically go into down only just because there's no demand coming from the consumer to use these tokens. There's no utility to these tokens. So in a bull market, everything goes. In a bull market, you can see things go, and there's a lack of liquidity in this, so you can see price advance quite quickly. But again, going back to the question in regards to a long-term investment, or just using the word investment at all, I would say that it's more of a momentum play than it is an investment. Your goal would be to stack more Solana than it would be to take a position, a long-term investment position in Mercurial. What does the green diamond mean? What is it based on? It's based on being really oversold. So the green diamond just takes into consideration how oversold the asset is. So as an asset grinds further and further down, we get to that point where it reaches these really oversold levels where the market's clearly making a mistake on its consensus. Typically, you want to be somewhere in the middle with fair prices in between overbought and oversold. So whenever an asset is oversold, it's considered to be at a discount and that the market is making a mistake. And these diamonds have been programmed into the indicator to just flash as a reminder, hey, we're oversold. This is what we're looking for. Oh, and the technical feature that we use for that is just simply RSI. To me, they just travel down the trading range before going up. I would play the momentum. When you're playing momentum, use a high time frame moving average strategy. So I would do like a 3-day or even a weekly, and there are plenty of moving average strategies out there. A very common one is a weekly crossing a monthly price average. As soon as you see that momentum come in, if we start changing the trend and printing higher highs and higher lows, just keep up with that momentum. The end goal is to just increase your Solana position, increase your Ethereum position, increase your dollar position, whatever the case may be. But me personally, I don't think that there's a long-term investment in Mercurial, just because its sole purpose is governance. And if you want a position in governance, that's one thing, but most people, when the bull market's over, they don't care about governance, so they just sell out of those positions. Oh yes, Cosmos, Atom. So very similar to Algorand in the sense that we're kind of taking the stairs up on Cosmos. So Cosmos is a layer 0 as it's being coined these days. I remember layer 0 used to just be called atomic swaps. But now those platforms that are facilitating atomic swaps, meaning, you know, one asset from one blockchain swap to another asset on another blockchain. And we're not talking Ethereum compatibility. We're talking about something like swapping Bitcoin, native Bitcoin, with swapping native Ethereum. Those are atomic swaps, blockchain to blockchain transactions. Cosmos is going to be facilitating that. We're on a reaction to the downside. I do think that this is a valuable protocol, but we don't have the momentum that we need to be taking the trade. If we go on to the daily, again, it's trading sideways at the moment. If we can reverse this momentum and head to the upside, it would be looking good. We're kind of this last distribution here, it's very volatile. Very volatile. Last distribution, you know, we're kind of sitting on top of that. But if we do lose this level, we run the risk of capitulation. But here's the thing that I like about capitulation. Let me turn alphanumerics off. So if you get this kind of distributional pattern and you get a large capitulation and trade sideways into a really tight spread, that's kind of the best place to buy. That's like one of the best signals that you can get, is right after this devastating crash, trade sideways and really tight outside of the range. As soon as you become a participant in this sort of area right here, let me just highlight it. Accumulating anytime. You know, you don't even need to get a very good price in this general range. If you can get in there and then be the recipient of that breakout, you got really good momentum, and you've got a lot of accumulation backing up the markup event to get up to these higher levels. And I'm sure if we put on alphanumerics, you'll get that bullish cross there. Although it's pretty messy here on the daily. It's why I like the 3-day with this one, which the 3-day give you a nice clean entry. Boom. And I even told you to take profits near the top. If you guys want access to the alphanumerics indicator, actually, I can't even advertise. We'll have to. I don't have a link ready. I don't have a link ready, but go to alphanumerics.com. I'm going to have to prepare a link because we are switching things around. So just wait. All right, let's take a look at traditional markets. So just a reminder on traditional markets, we're not looking too hot on traditional markets until we can get above this red line that I've drawn here, the ICE. We've broken trend. We've broken trend in traditional finance, and we're coming up for the potential for a bearish retest. A bearish retest, for those who don't know, is when you break through a structure that's well-defined. We had a very well-defined structure here where the ICE is marked, and then we come up and are unable to overtake that level. So if that does in fact end up being the case, then, you know, the crypto downtrend is certainly not over. We're highly correlated with traditional finance, particularly with the NASDAQ, and we'll pull up the NASDAQ next. But yeah, we're not immune to what's going on in traditional finance. So do be on the lookout, watch the S&P, make sure that we can get above. If we can get above, if we can blast off and break past the highs, we're gravy, and we'll probably rally for a few months. But until we can get past that bearish invalidation point, until we can get past this high, we do need to be on the lookout. We need to be on lower high watch. If we do print a lower high and curl over to the downside, it's going to be much more downside with the cryptos as well. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ, which we're much more correlated with. We're coming up close. We'll probably bump into this resistance somewhere at around 15.1. So watch how we develop structure underneath this trend line. And again, we're watching for the exact same thing. We're watching for that bearish retest right underneath of that previous support, now resistance. And if you get a curling over, more than likely it will really freak out the markets, and we'll have a clear change of direction, a clear change of trend, and a change of behavior in some of the indices. So this is not what you want to see. What you do want to see is us overtaking the level and rallying off of it. If we can do that, like I said, we're looking at many months of bull market ahead. But until we break the bearish ideas that are currently in the structure of the price, nothing but just being very careful with the lower high watch. We need to be watching for these lower highs. So I've already got one lower high marked. We don't want to print another lower high. We need to start breaking this structure to the upside to get a continuation of the rally. So do pay attention. If you are exposed only to crypto and you don't find yourself paying attention to traditional finance very much, it's time to start putting up some charts. Watch the Dow, watch the S&P, watch the NASDAQ, and watch the Russell. Those are kind of your main indices that can indicate a price shift or a momentum shift in traditional finance. And as it stands right now, we're right on the precipice. So it could get ugly if we get a confirmation to the downside. So be aware. What does ICE mean? I actually don't know. So in the Wyckoff method, which is some of the backbones of my technical understanding, there's two structures that you're looking for. When you're in an accumulation, let's find an accumulation that broke out. And it's kind of like a story. It's not an acronym, but Wyckoff is heavy on its acronyms. So basically, when you have a line of resistance in an accumulation and you break it, it's called jumping the creek. It's an old method, man. This thing's from like, the early 1900s. And they say that, oh, the boy was jumping across, traveling down the river and then he jumped across the creek. That's basically what it means. And then the inverse, or the thing to watch out for a bearish confirmation, is just falling through the ice. It's literally talking about jumping over a creek, a body of water, and falling through falling through the ice. That's all it is. So it's not a fancy acronym. It doesn't mean anything more than just the story of the boy who is the price action. A little bit of Wyckoff stuff. We do a lot of Wyckoff in the private group. We do a lot of Wyckoff when Wyckoff is applicable. When you're in a bull market, it becomes less applicable, but we still have a lot of that kind of lingo and analysis in the group. Okay, let's take a look at Matic. Actually, let's take a look at some of these layer 2 scaling solutions. So Matic, it actually had a break through the ice. So let's turn off alphanumerics. Since we're on the topic, we had a line of support. It was a very clearly defined area that was holding us up, and we broke through that area, and now we're trapped under the ice. So this is the resistance. We would be watching for that lower high watch on Matic. Out of the way. Lower high watch on Matic. So we'd be watching for something like this. Excuse me, if we curl over, we'd be right back down to support on Matic. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Let's take a look at some of these other scaling solutions. Near was doing quite well. A lot of people quite excited about Near. We had a nice bullish breakout here, bullish signal down here at 270, currently at 11 bucks. But we've got a lot of momentum to the downside right now, and we're just about to cross bearish here on Near. So it's not looking, it's looking like a lot of the momentum has subsided. So I wouldn't be surprised for this to go into an accumulation, and we could probably scoop up some Near at a good price, potentially around $6, $5. There's probably some psychological support for us at around $5. If that fails to hold, we'd be looking at $3 or $4 for the price of Near. So definitely not in investment territory right now. If we continue the trend, if we get a confirmation and a move in momentum, our thesis, our bias will change. But as it stands right now, we've got a lot of downward pressure. So we need to show that there is enough demand to overtake that selling pressure. Phantom, another one. This one's kind of a tricky one because fundamentally Phantom is really strong. Phantom has some fantastic applications being built, really good liquidity pools, and its ratio of TVL, total value locked, meaning the amount of liquidity locked up in DeFi protocols, versus its market cap is actually very close. And that's one of the better metrics to analyze when an asset like a Matic or an Avalanche or any of these layer 2 scaling solutions or these side chains, it's a good way to value them. what's their market cap versus how much liquidity actually exists on that platform. And Phantom's really close. It's quite a fair price between market cap and TVL. So a lot of people saying that it's undervalued because it hasn't reached those multiples of its liquidity that's locked. But from a technical point of view and a structure point of view, it's not looking ideal. There's certainly not a ton of demand propping up the price right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see it trade around $1.50, potentially change the trend from there. But if it does break below $1.29 or $1.10, if it breaks below $1.10, it's going into a multi-month accumulation from there. So I'm keeping an eye on what's going on with Phantom, but you know, it's not painting a very good picture in terms of momentum, and a lot of that is due to the fact that the market's just cooled off overall, as you know, we got a little too hot and frothy, and you know, projects are unwinding, like Wonderland, which is absolutely fucking amazing, like crazy. I can't believe that they're wanting to actually wind down that project. Let's actually take a look at Wonderland. You guys hear all that construction? I'm moving tomorrow. Been here for too long. Time to leave. Let's take a look at Wonderland Tether. About 400 bucks. Let's actually look at it on its line chart here. So yeah, I mean, price wise, it's definitely volatile and it's ugly. There's a terrible narrative going on with Wonderland, and we'll see if they actually dissolve the treasury and you know, credit all of those who hold or held time at a certain point are able to cash out some of the treasury, which is nuts. You know, it's very rare that you see a crypto project just wind down like that. So a lot of drama from the high yielding DAOs last week, that is for sure. Hey, Pineapple Express, it's going pretty good. I don't know if I should go heavier with Solana or Avalanche. What are your thoughts? My thoughts are, I'm not the biggest fan of blockchains that are kind of, you know, existing in a silo, meaning that it's very hard to, you know, move liquidity from one chain to another. I'm much more of a fan of projects like Avalanche that are EVM compatible, Ethereum virtual machine compatible, so that they're able to communicate with the Ethereum blockchain and transfer funds back and forth. We're not at that point yet in the development of cryptocurrency where, you know, moving assets freely chain to chain is fully developed. There's a lot of things that we still can't do yet. And as long as that's the case, I'm not sure that I would, you know, me personally go super hard on blockchain alternatives. Now, that being said, gaming and trading are huge in crypto, period. End of story. Like, gaming and trading are huge. And Solana does both of those things very, very well. Solana, you know, it breaks down from time to time and people complain. But you know what? It's doing a lot, and it has a ton of throughput, and they're tweaking and they're improving and blah, 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 blah. For applications that are trade-based applications, it's a great product. And for applications that are gaming-based applications, it's a fantastic product. So it definitely has value in this world. It has worth, it has use case, and it has applications being built. But when you think about kind of the institutional money that's coming in, I personally maintain the bias that Ethereum is going to have a very large place in that. And if you are not compatible with Ethereum, then it's a hindrance. You know, we see these with some other chains, like Cardano, for instance, is kind of existing on its own. Algorand exists on its own. XRP exists on its own. Cadena chain is something that I'm watching that exists on its own. So these are all isolated. They're not part of the Ethereum economy. So what that means is if you're a whale and you want to, you know, go from Polygon to Avalanche, it's really easy to do because they're Ethereum compatible. But if you want to go from Cardano to Ethereum, you can't. In its current form, you can't. So, you know, there's hindrances to those types of isolated blockchains, but they still have value. There's a lot of value there. So, you know, it's a tough question because Solana is cheap. Let's actually take a look at Solana. You know, it's a cheap blockchain to run. And it's come right down to the area that I'd be looking for a bounce. It's bouncing off of that. I was expecting, you know, a bounce around 80 to 65 bucks. It's bouncing right off the 80. The fact, you know, if it does bounce from here and gets above these EMAs, that's showing a lot of strength because I was expecting it to come down at least below 80, and it touched 80 and just it went off of that level. So I would like to see some accumulation. This is going back to one of my favorite setups, actually. Let's, what was I talking about? We were looking at Phantom, FTM. Phantom. So, you know, these kind of distribution shakeout events, long-term accumulation, and then you get a bullish cross. If we can see that in Solana, which I think we do because the sentiment has really cooled down on Solana. A lot of people just don't care about Solana anymore, and that's a good thing. I like it when people lose interest in a high quality product. I have my own theories, like I just explained, but yeah, I think that if you were wanting to invest long term, you could begin to scale in and accumulate Solana at these levels. But I also think that we're going to trade sideways here for a bit, as the sentiment is still quite negative with Solana. A lot of people complaining that it breaks down all the time. So I don't know, let the price be your guide. Let it just really tighten up. Employ a moving average strategy, and when you get that pop, it'll give you your entry, and it should rally from that point. You know, of course, nothing's a guarantee, and nothing here is financial advice, but I'm just talking about the probabilities of how these setups typically run. We still got a lot of trading volume currently, which is probably due to the fact that there is still some demand for Solana. The NFT markets, anytime crypto trades sideways or heads down, slightly down, NFT markets pick up. So there's still a lot of NFT action on Solana. There's still a ton of NFT action on Ethereum. There's a lot of NFT stuff going on. So any of these products where NFTs are popular, any of these tokens where NFTs are popular, they're still going to have a lot of demand. So we're still seeing a ton of trading volume in this general area. I would like to see that cool down a little bit, and then get a really tight price spread in an accumulation formation. But as it stands right now, this is a distribution right here. This distribution just confirmed bearish. We broke bear on the distribution. So we can't just change the trend. It's very unlikely that we get a V-shaped recovery in the current market conditions. So we're going to have to assume that we go through some sort of time period of accumulation before we can rally off of that level. So no urgency. You can chill. I think there's going to be plenty of time and opportunity to accumulate some Solana. And then since the other coin you were talking about is Avalanche, let's take a look at Avalanche. Avalanche, similar sort of structure. We got really overheated. Got a bearish cross on the 3-day. Momentum's gone. I think we'll continue a bearish trend in Avalanche, which is, you know, it is what it is. I actually really like Avalanche. I was notified, I was told about Avalanche very early by another YouTube creator, and I didn't listen. And I even think I made a joke saying I'll buy it at 100 because I don't get it at $5. I should have listened to him. He was definitely onto something on the fundamentals, something that I didn't dive into soon enough. The fundamentals of Avalanche are really, really strong. Very strong fundamentals. It's one of honestly, it's one of the best structured side chains, Ethereum compatible side chains that exist in the ecosystem right now. It's very hard to break. It can take a ton of throughput. Its transactions are very cheap, and it's got a ton of developer activity. So devs like it. When the devs like it, that's really, really important. You want to make sure that there's a lot being built, because the more is being built, the more value is being added to it. So if you want a share in the network that is being chosen by developers, I think Avalanche is kind of the better play, in my opinion. All right. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing. Breaking out yet? Not yet. Not breaking out yet. A little bit of volume here on the daily. Nothing crazy noteworthy, but definitely defending the levels. Anytime we kind of dip down, we're getting bought back up. I'm liking what I'm seeing with the wicks on the underside here of this asset. So and we're sitting on top. If we can sit on top of the weekly average, it would be good. Entry and target, please. There is no entry and target. So Bitcoin is in a downtrend. So until we break the trend, there's no, I mean, there's an entry for a short. Every time we hit this line, you short it. So if you want to short it at 38.8, you have a high you're working with the trend. But as long as this downtrend's in place, we can't really take the long side, right? Where every single time we hit this line, there's rejection. So there's no long setup. I only take a few trades a year. I take a few trades a year. They're, you know, well placed, well structured, well positioned, and that's all you need. You know, a lot of people, when they dream about becoming a trader, they think of, you know, all the monitors on all the different time frames, and they're scalping this and that, and you know, they're pulling profits all day long, and all they do is sit at a computer and press buttons. It's not like that. At least not for me. I like to enjoy myself. I like to, you know, have free time available. If you're going to be a scalper in these markets, especially a 24-hour market, it's quite time consuming, and it's going to consume a good amount of your free time. Not to say that it's impossible, it's just not my style. If you guys like that kind of scalpy price action, that scalpy kind of content, honestly, go follow CryptoFace. He's very abrasive. He's the creator of Crypto Cypher, which is an indicator that just makes no sense to anybody but him. But regardless, he is one of the best scalpers in crypto right now. CryptoFace, go check him out. Again, I don't endorse his behavior or the way he talks or the way he behaves, but he's a fucking animal. He is an animal. He's one of the best scalp traders, period, in the space. CryptoFace. Good luck getting an education with him, though. He's like I said, he's an odd character. How does Matic work with ETH to reduce fees? So that's a very good question. Every side chain takes pressure off of Ethereum. So Avalanche, Matic, let's actually pull up our side chains here. Phantom, they're just, you know, where you would be trading on Ethereum, you now have options to move liquidity, bridge liquidity over to another chain. So instead of always trading, you know, Ethereum USDT on the Ethereum network, you can actually transfer Ethereum and USDT, the coins, over to a side chain, and you can do it faster and cheaper. So it just, the result of that is it creates less transactions on Ethereum. And the less transaction volume on Ethereum, the lower the gas fees. So that's basically the long and short of it. So, you know, while Ethereum 2.0 is launching, while we're trying to prepare Ethereum for its scaling solutions to become mainstream, these are really good solutions where you can just take the activity that would be happening on Ethereum and take that activity and move it somewhere else. And the more we remove the activity from Ethereum, the less the fees are going to be on Ethereum. That's it. That's pretty much the whole thesis. It's a band-aid. It's a temporary fix. I do believe that Ethereum will scale. We'll figure out a big breakthrough in consensus, whether it's through rollups or whatever the case may be. We're going to figure out these layer 2s that work with Ethereum. Yeah. Are the side chains actually competing with ETH? I don't think so, personally, because Ethereum has the largest track record, and a long track record in cryptocurrency equates to security and confidence. We're talking about money here. We're talking about institutions wanting to step in. They're going to pick the safest place to do so, which is why Bitcoin keeps on doing what it's doing. It's one of the safest blockchains, period. And we just don't mess with it. We don't fuck with it. And it's by far and away the safest chain that we have. Next to Bitcoin, we have Ethereum. Ethereum is the safest smart contract platform that we have in terms of security, scalability, and decentralization. So as soon as the scalability piece is fixed, I feel that a lot of the liquidity that's on Avalanche, the liquidity that's on Matic, the liquidity that's on Phantom is going to migrate back over to Ethereum because it's the safer, stronger chain. It's a band-aid, it's a fix. It's doing what we need it to do now, but it's ultimately not going to be, the be-all, end-all, in my opinion. Could be wrong. This is a decentralized world that we live in, so there are going to be believers that will go to Avalanche and they will stay there. And there will be plenty of activity there because there's nothing forcing them to shut down Avalanche and move everybody over. We're all humans with free will, but I do think that's going to be a big part of it. BNB, Smart Chain, and Phantom are compatible with ETH, but neither are side chains / layer 2s of ETH. Well, they are side chains. It's another chain. It's a chain that's on the side. It's doing its own thing. It's a blockchain that's on the side that's compatible. You can bridge assets over to ETH, but they are not layer 2s. So examples of layer 2s would be Arbitrum or Optimism, which actually uses the consensus of Ethereum, the security of Ethereum, to validate transactions. That you kind of batch all the transactions on a block of Optimism and it goes to Ethereum as one transaction. So that's a true layer 2. And then a side chain is just kind of a side blockchain that can communicate with Ethereum. Can you use a side chain to interact with an Ethereum app, or it needs to use the ETH chain? If the application is built on Ethereum and the liquidity that you are trying to do is on Ethereum, you can only do it on Ethereum. So an example we'll use the example of a trade. If you want to trade Bitcoin for ETH on an Ethereum application like Uniswap, that transaction is going to happen on Ethereum. If you want to do it on a side chain, we'll use Phantom. You can do the exact same action. You can trade Bitcoin for ETH on Phantom using SpookySwap, which is just a clone, a copy of the Uniswap protocol, repackaged and reformatted, and you can do it for less fees. So that's really the only difference. Now, when the assets are on Phantom, they exist on Phantom only. When the assets are on Ethereum, they exist on Ethereum only. And the only way you're able to move them is with a bridge. And the bridge piece is when a chain becomes Ethereum compatible. If a bridge can plug into Ethereum, it becomes Ethereum compatible. Solana doesn't have a bridge that goes to Ethereum. Cardano doesn't have a bridge that goes to Ethereum. So those are not EVM compatible blockchains. It's just those blockchains like Polygon Matic, Avalanche, Phantom, Near. These are all ones that can bridge assets from Ethereum over to their own blockchains and vice versa. When we're done over here on Avalanche, we can go back to Ethereum if we want to. But yeah, there's a lot of problems that haven't quite been ironed out, and we haven't figured everything out yet in terms of bridging. One of the biggest problems that we have in cryptocurrency right now is the inability to bridge NFTs. We can't bridge an NFT. You can copy a token, because a bridge is basically locking one token and making a copy on the other side. You can't do that with an NFT because there's too much data. There's an image attached. There's a whole bunch of other data that is needed for you to be able to bridge, and we don't have that technology yet, which is why Ethereum NFTs are still so popular, because if you want to have an NFT and you think long term and think that Ethereum is going to be the chain that wins over all the other ones if scaling becomes a thing, then you don't want to buy NFTs on Matic. You don't want to buy NFTs on Solana. You don't want to buy NFTs on Cardano because you can't bridge them back over. So this is one of the reasons that NFTs are so popular on Ethereum and continue to be popular on Ethereum. I'm scared to short it anymore. What do you think of the People USDT on futures? Dead project and an endless dump, but been pumping this week. Probably sounds like a pump and dump. People. I don't even know what People is. Yeah, it's a liquid shitcoin, man. I mean, yeah, it's pumping, but what is it? The fuck is People? What does it do? What is it for? Constitution DAO. Oh yeah, I've been hearing all about this on Twitter. Refunds are now available. So it's unwinding as well. All these DAOs, you know, anybody who's been watching the channel for a while, I've said it many times in regards to Olympus. Everybody's like, oh, I say Olympus is an amazing project. Olympus is one of the best things to happen to crypto in a very long time. And I would get the comments, well, what do you think about Wonderland? What do you think about Midas DAO? What do you think about this DAO? What do you think about that DAO? You can copy and paste code. You can't copy and paste talent. And I want to see all these DAOs just die. And I want to see Olympus not die. Because if that happens, people will get it. They'll understand that, you know, you can't just copy and paste these projects because a DAO is something different. A DAO relies on the participation of the community and the actions of the policymakers. It's a very different thing. It was a DAO, but the Constitution, yeah, weird project. They killed the project, so they wanted a whale exit pump. Yeah, want to short the pump, but it feels risky. It's very risky. I mean, what's the liquidity on this thing? 24 hour. It's not great. I wouldn't. I don't even know where you can short it. You can short it on Binance. Yeah, I wouldn't, man. It's a liquid. It's a liquid. You're shorting something like this too. Like, it's just going straight up. You're just asking for trouble, in my opinion. Will it go down eventually? Yeah, probably. But I mean, best of luck. Best of luck. It's not, I don't short much, honestly. I really don't. Is Curve going to unwind too? I don't think so. No, Curve is way too popular. There's way too much liquidity on Curve. You wouldn't. It's a different model. It's not structured in a similar way. It's on Bybit now too. What's the funding on it? Let's find out what the funding is. See if we can find it. People. It's a lot of people are shorting it, man. A lot of people are shorting it. Is People the ticker? I don't know. You're playing whale games, man. You're playing whale games. It's too quick of a move. It's just too quick of a move. You want to scalp it, go ahead. But you're looking at like the 5 minute and just wait for structure. It looks like it's just continuing to rally. This is a strong price action on the small time frames. Consolidation pump, consolidation pump. Until you get a breakdown and a change of structure, I wouldn't fucking short it. And you're gonna pay a lot in funding. When it pumps, wow, does it go? It has its own liquidation cascade ecosystem. Plenty of bridges being built though. Look at Relay, etc. I think eventually everything will link. They will, but what if they are required to have certain things in place in order to link? You know, specifically the NFT piece, I think is a really big deal. NFTs don't bridge. So, you know, if all of a sudden we start to see an ecosystem where NFTs can bridge, and we have the Matics, we have the Avalanches, we have all these other chains, but they don't have that piece, they're obsolete, they're incomplete. They don't have the same sort of structure, technical structure, or, you know, coding framework in place, so that they're able to be a modern scaling solution for Ethereum. That's just my take on it, though. You know, I'm not that smart. Yeah, when the funding is negative, it's people are shorting it. It's probably what's fueling all these pumps, is people shorting it, thinking it's a dead project and it's pumping. So that's probably what's going on. All right, I got to get into the virtual classroom, everybody. So I got to head out of here. If you aren't already in VIP, check out the QR code there. If you're not signed up on FTX, go ahead and sign up using my link in the QR code. It'll give you a free 30-day trial in the group. If you want to pay for the year, we have that as well. Go to thecryptojungle.com and get 2 months free. And we will see you in the group. Get Bull Run ready for the next leg up. We've got a large community with some really talented traders that are going to be there to guide you through your crypto journey. But yeah, that's all the time I have for today. If you enjoyed this content, please leave it a like. Don't forget to subscribe. And if there are any projects that you would like me to take a look at, leave them in the comment section down below. And until next time, please trade safe. It is a jungle out there. Peace.